Hey guys, I'm Heidi with Heavenly Minded Homemaker and welcome back. So we started officially the series a couple Mondays ago, and then for those of you who don't know, my husband has been in a lot of pain and dealing with a lot of stuff. Really, it's been so much. And so a week ago today, actually, he was having a surgery. He had gallbladder surgery, which I get is in a lot of cases very, in and out type of a thing. His was not. It nearly killed him. And so he had surgery a week ago today. He ended up with 2 surgeries, but the second surgery was a week ago today to get it out and get it removed. And there's a lot of complications and a lot of issues and things that went into it. He was incredibly sick. He was in so much pain. We were in the hospital for 5 days. It was awful, absolutely awful. And so he is recovering now, thank you, Lord. But it's definitely one of those like, wow, a week ago today, he was, when you're sitting down and you're hearing nearly fatal and things like that being told you from the doctors, that is a huge kind of wake-up call, slap in the face, kind of about all of this stuff. And so to be here, now a week later and he's improving and he's feeling better and the pain is lessening and all of these things, he's got, a few more weeks of recovery to go, but to see him on that path and he's looking so much better and feeling so much better and all of these things, it's just amazing. And you can't help but just praise the Lord and thank him for this and for these mercies, to be a week into a recovery versus a week into being a widow, huge difference. So that's why all of the videos, all of the things, everything has been goofed up, thrown off, all of that. So we took this last week and we thought, we hadn't slept for a week and all of these things. And we thought that we would be totally caught up before this week was over, now being back home and having all of our kids back. And the week flew by. We're not ready. We have nothing together. So we're trying to put all the pieces together and kind of catch up on all of the things. So I'm going to record this video. It's going to come out. We're also celebrating the holy days, the biblical feast. And this week is Sukkot. So super exciting. And we'll have more videos coming out on that. I feel like we are not nearly as prepared as I had planned for us to be, but that's what happens when life throws you some crazy curveballs. For the Homemaker series, I definitely feel like I had originally in my head an idea of how this was going to go and what I was going to talk on and putting together these different things. But the point of this, I think, is just to share in my journey and what I have been taught and what I have learned and what the Lord has showed me as far as being a keeper at home and being a homemaker and seeing my mission field and my ministry here in my home for my husband, for my children, friends and family and neighbors and anybody around me that God might put into my path. We're all missionaries because we all have a mission field, and this is my mission field, right? And so I had ideas of things I want to talk about, and I think we'll get to all of those things. And I want to hear your guys' suggestions too. I want to talk about how we keep it frugal with different things in our home, striving for, natural remedies and natural care and keeping things as simple and basic, having a very minimalist home, things like that. But I'm going to have to kind of pause a little bit and backtrack a little bit because when all of this happened with my husband, there were a few things that happened that it was God talking to us. It just definitely was in the way that we felt, the people that he put into our path. And long story short, with the last team of surgeons that we met with, the day we got to come home or day before we got to come home, we were there for a while. Days get a little mixed up. Anyways, we always strive to do things as natural as possible. I do not believe in big pharma and big food and everything that goes into that. It is so important. Many won't speak about it. When you try to go against these things, it's a big ordeal, that type of stuff. But the more educated you become, the more you learn about these things, the more you're like, wait a second, what are we doing? And then looking at it from a biblical aspect and what God created and intended for things to be and what they've turned into, it's so backwards. It makes no sense. And so we usually have had struggles then when it comes to doing anything with doctors and things like that, because they just want to give you prescriptions, they want to give you medicines, they want you to do these things. And so when you're like, I don't know about that, let's look at my diet, let's look at the foods I'm eating, let's look at the chemicals I'm putting on my body, and things like that. People usually think you're crazy, right? It's few and far between that are like, yeah, you're absolutely right, that's what we need to look at. So all of that little forewarning here. We had amazing doctors, throughout the whole thing, all the different procedures, all the different stuff, nursing staff, all of that was fantastic. So we get this surgeon who comes in, and she's the one who looked at everything. She didn't do the surgery. The team that was with her, they did, but she was the head surgeon. And she's looking at everything after the fact. They're looking at the results, and once they've gone through and looked at the gallbladder and all these things. And she's the one who's like, you have no idea how nearly fatal this was. This is very, very serious. And so she starts talking a little bit about how, it's the foods we eat. We can prevent most all the diseases that most every American is dying from by the foods that we eat, our lifestyle, the chemicals, all these different things. And so, you guys, I'm not kidding. I'm biting my tongue. I'm sitting there trying to stay quiet, because this is the stuff that I love, absolutely love. All the documentaries, all the research, all the things. I love it. And I have to watch myself because I can get a little crazy. And my husband knows and he understands, and he has been doing a good job to finally be like, okay, let's start making some of these changes. But he wasn't quite at the point of like totally jumping off into the deep end type of a thing. So she starts talking, and finally she goes a little bit longer, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I start, sharing these different things. So then we're just having a great time. It was fantastic. We had a great conversation. I will not sit here and go through all of it, but it was fantastic. And to find somebody in the medical field who is like, no, we are, the foods hospitals are feeding their patients. She's like, you can't get well on this. We were talking about all of that, but to see somebody who is in the system that's going, the system is broken. It is not working for anyone. It is killing people. We have to do something about this. And the funny thing was that she handed me this little card here. And she ended up, she's like, I'm going to give you my personal cell phone and email address. So if you have any questions, we can chat. And then the more we chatted, she was like, seriously, it's my new best friend. And she recommended this doctor and his findings and his things. And maybe you guys have heard of him. And I'm going to go ahead and link down in the description just a little brief little video kind of breaking down who he is, what he's about, that type of a thing. But the book is called How Not to Die. And it's Dr. Greger, and it's his whole story, which I'll link down below, of, his grandmother almost died. They basically sent her home to die, but then she ended up finding this other doctor who said, hey, let's work, with diet and things like that, and try to get you healthy. And they were able to reverse all these things, and she lived a long life. Inspired him to go to medical school, that type of a thing. So we looked at the top 15 leading causes of death in America and started researching and digging through all of these medical journals and things like that, and looking at them. Why are people dying of this? What can we do? What are some things that can be had, right? Doctors usually will just prescribe you a prescription, some medication that's going to cause other complications, and it usually doesn't work. Right now, we have recalls going out like crazy for blood pressure medicine that's causing cancer. Come on now. And so she was talking about this, and she said, I'm telling you, go check this guy out, listen to his stuff. And then she recommended go to this Oshi Glow's website, and there's a ton of great recipes on there. And so the funny part, so I'm looking at all these things, looking at this different stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is, a lot of this is a lot of the things that we knew and were working toward. We just weren't at that level. And so kind of having this big aha moment where we saw how near death my husband was. And it's not that, and all of these things that are making everybody sick, they're just living the normal American life. I mean, that's what it is. You're working too much. You're too stressed out. You're not eating a proper diet. You're eating the Western diet. And that's why it's called the SAD diet. The standard American diet is the SAD diet, because that's what it is. It's causing heart disease and cancers and, all of the diabetes, and just goes on and on and on. And everybody, is dealing with their weight and thyroid problems and energy problems, and we're hopped up on caffeine and all of these different things, right? So we're talking with her, I'm like, this is amazing. Thank you so much. And to have her give me her personal contact information, so I have questions, want to talk about things, we can do so. And just to see all of that. And that's where for him, you know, obviously now a lot of people have gallbladder surgery, and they usually go back to eating the same foods, and then they just continue to get sick, and these things continue to go on. And, you know, this was very much for him what do we need to do? I cannot believe that it's his birthday, actually, Sunday. So you guys will see this the day after his birthday. But he's like, I'm 36 years old nearly, and I'm dying. Like, that's insane. And so it's so much. And so when we came home, and I said, you know what, let me go look at Joy Forney, who I share with you guys. She's here on YouTube. She's on Instagram. I love her. She's always shared these different recipes, you know, because they eat a fairly plant-based diet. We have always strived, we've been striving for, since I really started getting into all of this stuff, a clean diet where the foods we're eating are the foods that God created and not processed foods. And I knew that Joy Forney, she has shared so many amazing recipes and things. I said, yeah, let me go look her up. And the funny thing that made me chuckle is I started watching Joy's old videos of these different recipes and things. And she's a missionary in Uganda. And the 2 cookbooks that she cooks out of is the Oshi Glows cookbooks that the surgeon recommended to me. So I had to giggle and laugh that what are the odds that this random surgeon that we get to meet in Asheville, North Carolina is recommending the same stuff that this missionary that I love to learn from in Uganda, Africa, it's like the same thing. Like, I just thought that was kind of crazy. So my focus right now is on a couple things. We're very, very busy with our home church, and to see that growing, it's fantastic and amazing. And I'm so thankful to God for it. If you guys haven't joined us already, please, we invite you to do so. Every Sunday at noon, we have a Facebook group, so that way we can have private kind of live streams and chats. And we do a Sunday service. We're going to start incorporating Wednesday prayer meetings, things like that. And it's fantastic. We love it. And to see the church family really get to be the church and all of this is just blown my mind. It's amazing. And then obviously with the homeschool, and I'm getting out the next month of homeschool plans, and to see what that has done, and the people in various countries it's reached just is amazing. And Brandon and I both feel very, very compelled to take care of some stuff here within the house. I've talked to you guys about minimalism a lot because I think it's very important. I think it's very biblical. And so we're going to be doing some pretty heavy duty minimizing on that side, which I will share with you guys about. If you're interested and feel overwhelmed by your home and your stuff and you want to get that on track, we'll be talking about that a lot. But the food, that is a big one. So with this, How Not to Die, which again, I'm going to link that. I haven't read the book yet. There is the audiobook on YouTube, so I'll probably listen to that as I can. But I'm going to link just like his little trailer. And he has a podcast. I've listened to a couple episodes of that as well, and follow on like social media and stuff like that just to see what he's got. But there's this app. It's called the Daily Dozen app. And in his book and in his things, he overall finds these dozen different things that incorporating as a base into your day and into your diet has great health benefits. And again, you look biblically and it's just like God set it up to be, right? The harder the foods are to obtain and to process to get, the less we should have of them. So therefore, like meats and dairies should be the smallest portion of what we take in. But in our culture, they're not. They're one of the biggest. And so processed foods and meats and dairies should be the smaller, where, you know, your vegetables and beans and things like that are the higher. And so I downloaded the app. It's really cool. So I am sitting down now and trying to look at what we have and what do I need to do to adjust this so that way we are eating more of a plant-based diet, getting in all of these great nutrients, things that are easy for our bodies to digest. They fill our body with the nutrients that we need, and then minimizing the other things so that way that's not what is taking up, you know, most of our diet, most of our daily intake. So I figured I would share that with you guys, so that way I'm doing all the stuff. This is the homemaker stuff. We have to take care of ourselves and our families, and we have to nourish them and feed them the good foods and teach them how to do this stuff. When I learn these things, I teach it to my kids right along with me. My kids know to read food labels. If you don't know what that food is, why are you putting it into your body? Look the stuff up. What is that? Why are you putting in there? Eat the foods. Did God create it? Okay, then it's probably good to consume. Did man in some laboratory create it? Probably want to stay away from it. Not saying that we're perfect, and not saying from time to time things don't mix in there. Come on, you guys know we do our lives every Saturday at noon, and our kids, it's their favorite thing. It's their weekly treat that they get a burger from Burger King after the live. Burger King is awful, you know, so yes, little things here and there I think are just fine. But for the most part, you know, what are you putting in? What are you bringing in? So I have been doing a lot of research, just looking at different recipes and things like that, looking to move our diet more plant-based, having things that are just wholesome, good, God-created foods making up the bulk of everything. I love intermittent fasting, kind of having a restricted eating window, kind of putting that in and see great results from that. I feel better. There's so much from fasting that you can gain. It is really, really good. I believe. I'm not saying that I'm a doctor and listen to my advice, things like that. You guys know. But we're looking to take that daily dozen philosophy from Dr. Greger and making that the base of the food that we eat. And then we can, you know, kind of sprinkle in things off of that. So let me go ahead and kind of just share with you guys a little bit of kind of what that is. And that way, kind of show you guys some of the things I went ahead. I haven't completely put together like our menu yet. I'm working on that, but I did gather up a few things that I will share with you guys. All right, so this is that Daily Dozen app that they have here. And so every day you can check off these things as you consume them to help keep you in track. So you've got your 3 servings of beans, and you can even tap the little information key. It's hard to film and work on my phone at the same time. See? So then you tap on that. So beans. Here are your recommended serving sizes, different types of beans they're talking about here that count and all of that. And I thought that was so cool how you can pull up and see, okay, cool. That's what you mean by that. Have 3 servings of beans, serving of berries, 3 servings of other fruits. Then you've got your vegetables and then your greens. And again, you can click here, chopped, Brussels broccoli, horseradish, and see here's all the different types that they're talking about when they say that. So going through your other vegetables, flax seeds, nuts and seeds, herbs and spices, whole grains, your beverages, obviously that's your water or different teas. We're not talking about sodas and things of that nature here. But here's your water, black tea, chai tea, vanilla chamomile, coffee, Earl Grey, green tea, hibiscus, hot chocolate, jasmine, you know. So here's your different drinks, right? It goes through. And then exercise, I think they recommend 90 minutes of moderate intensity or 40 minutes of a vigorous intensity. Bicycling, canoeing, dancing, dodgeball, you know, right? Going through different, again, I love that they give you all of these various different things. So that way you've got some ideas here and you're not just kind of guessing. And then, oops, I closed it. Anyways. And then, vitamin B12 and vitamin D. So these are the recommended things. Again, just a baseline, and obviously you can do more than this, but then you can go through and as you get the different things done, check them off, right? Did you get everything done? Just one done, and keep track of that. And then it goes through and it's got all of the different days so that you can keep track of the different foods that you're eating. So here are a few things I picked up at Walmart. I haven't gone to Aldi. I haven't gone anywhere else. This is just stuff we grabbed from Walmart so that way we could start putting these pieces together. I went ahead and got us some quinoa so that way I think these were like $3 a bag, and I got a few bags of these. And there's like 11 servings in here once you cook it up. So again, just looking for more plant-based substances, you know, for our different meals. I also got some of this wild blend rice. that looked really awesome, and it's whole grain. The other problem too is his blood pressure is still really struggling, so we're trying, it's just way too high. We really don't want to go to medication, so we're still just looking naturally, trying to see if we can go ahead and get this in order. So whole grains, big deal. We got him this rice, and then I'm so excited. A friend of mine who I'm so thankful for, she grinds up her own wheat. So these are the white wheat seeds that she gets, and then grinds up her own flour, which I have always wanted to do, and I never had the stuff to do it. But it was something I just always wanted to do. And she was like, hey, Brandon needs whole grains. I get the whole wheat and then just grind it myself. Do you guys want some? And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And so she sent me this huge bag of flour. So all of our baking, whole wheat, freshly ground. Super, super excited over this. We went ahead and got some organic flaxseed. I went ahead, you can get the just regular flaxseed. I went ahead and got ground flax. So that way we can start incorporating flaxseed into our whole family. Again, this is for our whole family to make these adjustments for. Obviously, really watching Daddy just because of his blood pressure, and now with the gallbladder stuff, it's a little more important, but everybody will be doing this. So we got some flaxseed. My goal is to mix this into smoothies or shakes or whatever it is that I can. I picked up a ton of different organic beans, black beans, lentils, and some chickpeas. So I got plenty of those. And then Daddy Brandon likes drinking, I'm used to calling him Daddy for the kids, and then when I talk to you guys, I'm like, that's probably weird. He usually drinks these like breakfast meal shakes is kind of what he does, because he likes to have something in the morning. I went ahead and got him this organic protein. It's a plant-based shake. He really likes it so far. And ingredient-wise, I don't know much about the company, but it looked pretty good. Sugars are low, which is a big deal. Sodium isn't awful. It's not the best, but it's not awful. And then I went ahead and got him, again, just trying to limit the amount of dairy and meats that we're having. I went ahead and did get a soy milk. It is non-GMO, which is important because most all soy is from a GMO crop. So non-GMO soy, and then some coconut milk. Brandon is allergic to avocados, peanuts, almonds, any kind of nuts. So avocado and nuts, he can't have any of. So we did soy and coconut. I've gone ahead and made him this shake. It's just 2 scoops of this in a cup. I went ahead and did the soy milk. Got him chocolate the first time, so it's not the best, but just to kind of help bridge the gap. And then I added in a dose of flaxseed as well. So that's what I was doing kind of for his morning shake. He loves it so far. The kids have been using the organic coconut milk in their, different drinks and things like that. And so far they like it. So, not bad. And it is the unsweetened kind as well. So, an organic. All of this I got at Walmart wasn't badly priced. And so not as great as Aldi, but it wasn't too bad. So these have been the kind of staple items that I kind of started bringing in as I look at these different recipes and what we are planning and thinking that we're going to have on our menu. So anyways, that's where we've been. That's what's going on. That's what we are working toward. Maybe you already have a rockin' awesome plant-based diet. Like, please share, put your stuff down there, favorite recipes or things like that. I definitely, we have no intentions to completely cut out meat and dairy. I don't think that's needed. It's not biblical. If you have a personal conviction to do so, then okay, that's fine. You do what you need to do, but we don't see a need for that. We have already, we strive to eat stuff that is organic, that we know the farms that it comes from and things like that. We don't do the best. We could do better, but we do try to put a conscious effort towards that, because the way the industry works and all the things, it is awful and disgusting and absolutely should not be the way that it is. That's a whole different topic. But I think moving in this way where it is the majority of our food, half of our food is, every meal when we sit down, tell my husband, okay, let's try to make sure that half of our plate is vegetables. The other 40% is plant-based food. And then if we have a little bit of meat or dairy sprinkled in there, that's cool. But this is our focus. So sitting down and now trying to think through our menus. Half of it, vegetables. The other 40%, plant-based, different things, right? As I'm paying attention to that Daily Dozen app and getting all those things in there. and then only 10% being sprinkled in with some meat or some dairy or anything that requires more processing and doesn't come from a plant. So kind of figuring that out, looking at different recipes, but again, doing it in a way that the kids, I mean, we all have to adjust to this. I think until you start kind of paying attention and thinking about that. And that's why this is really all this video is going to be today, because I'm still putting it together, but I want to offer this to you guys. If you are looking and you're going, man, I know my family isn't eating great, we could eat better. Maybe you have sickness and ailments and things that you are dealing with. Most of us are walking around with our bodies in a state of just inflammation. And the foods that we're feeding ourselves and all of these things are causing that. And honestly, getting that and getting good gut health under control makes such a difference. And so I wanted to just put this out there so that you can go, you can look into some of these things, you know, download the app, kind of talk with your family about it and share these things with your spouse, you know, maybe if this is something that's totally new and totally crazy. And then we can sit down and start looking at, well, what are some good recipes that really taste good? A lot of these websites, a lot of these things I've gone to and pulled up the recipes, I'm like, if I switch from, and I feel like we eat, not quite yet, I'm trying to do a video real quick. I feel like we eat a fairly decent diet. I mean, I do strive to eat organic, non-GMO, clean, true, real foods. We're not perfect at it, but that's what we strive for. And I feel like we do a pretty decent job. But if I were to go completely over and start feeding my kids and my husband some of this stuff, like they would riot. They would not. I think they'd all starve to death. So I'm trying to look at these things and say, okay, what is stuff that we're moving into a plant-based direction? We are making sure that we are hitting off all of these things on the app. We are feeding our bodies the things that they need. But it tastes good and we're enjoying it, you know, and it's not totally sending everybody off the deep end. So that's what we're working on. Those are the types of menus and meals and stuff that I am working to put together for my family that I will share with you all. These are the things I'm going to be kind of weighing my options from. I've really started to pay attention, you know, how often, you know, start paying attention to these things maybe too. How often do you go and grab something that is processed food? So it's not food that God created. It is processed into something else that we've created, right? How often is it a sugar or a meat or a dairy, right? What are these things that you are getting and you're filling your body up on? And just start, you know, I think kind of just paying attention to these things is like the first step, or it was for us to be like, oh my goodness, we're still eating too much junk. So those are the things that I'm going to start working on, hopefully get to share soon. A lot about minimalism as we go through our house, which you'll probably get a lot of in our homeschool videos as well with our daily vlogs. And then we'll have some videos coming out here soon this week about Sukkot with the biblical holy days that we are getting ready to finish celebrating as we wrap up the fall feast. So that's what we've got going on. Hope to see you guys all soon. Again, if you have already been working on a plant-based diet and you have some great recipes you'd like to recommend or things like that, definitely share them. Questions, concerns, anything else like that, let us know. But otherwise, we will see you guys next time. Every Monday, it is my plan, Lord willing, to put out a homemaking themed video with this series. So we'll be back next Monday and see what I've maybe accomplished and gotten done. You guys have a great day. We'll see you then.